Welcome. It's March 10th, 9:01 a.m. to the Coos County Area Transportation District meeting. And Doug.
Excellent. Just inputting when the next meeting is on my phone so I can show up.
We have a couple more people come in just a second.
Excellent.
How's our audio this morning, Jane? Good.
You good?
Yep, we're good.
I'd like to welcome all the volunteers and guests to our meeting, the CCAT. Can we call the meeting to order? And now we'll go to the forum for our board of directors. Melissa?
Director BC.
Present.
Director Johnson.
Present.
Director Mason Long.
Present.
Director Dovenspike.
Present.
Director Clausen.
Present.
Director Nelson.
Present.
Director Thompson.
Present. Excellent job, everyone. 100%. Now the advisory committee, please.
Lauren Morris.
Here.
Mike Marchand. Lindsay Ward.
Here.
And McIntyre and Babcock.
Yes, so we do not have a quorum of our advisory committee.
No, so when it comes to those agenda items for the advisory committee, you can call for their comments.
Okay, we'll do that. Do we have any changes to the
I
agenda?
will add, I'm sorry, my apologies. We have Jennifer Boardman with ODOT. We have Jane Stebbins, our legal counsel. We have David Ruptavis, our communications officer. And if I did not say it already, Carrie Muth from the Citizen.
We got our TV guy. Yeah. Okay, sorry, changes to the agenda. Do we have any changes? As you know. Excellent. Citizens' comments on agenda items, limited to 3. Public comment in the meeting is a one-way communication where the public shares input on the record without expecting a dialogue or direct response. Do we have any comment or hands? Do we see any hands there? Any public comment? Going twice. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We've got minutes, financials, and ridership. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented? We got a move, and we got a second. Okay, I've got a comment. My son was taking the bus from Eugene at the train station, and there's signage at the train station. It's lucky anyone ever gets on our bus. They have very poor signage. If you do not ask where to go, what to do, it's a miracle that anyone ever gets on our bus from Eugene to Coos Bay. So I think we need to communicate with those fine young individuals and say, we need a schedule or something that a person could know how to ride a bus from Eugene to Coos Bay. Because if you go online, there's issues with the timing. The time schedule is not the same as what the actual time was. At least that's what we discovered. But I mean, just want you guys to be aware of that. Because my son has done it a few times.
I will add that the Link Lane stops versus the Greyhound stops are not always super user friendly either. Like we had to thank you, Jennifer. We had to communicate to them that sometimes they would have to walk a block in order to get on the Greyhound. And so it's just there's some gaps between Greyhound and Link Lane. And so I'm not surprised to hear that there's gaps from the train to Link Lane.
And then they only have to go out the door, not even 100 yards. But if you don't know that you're gonna catch the bus that 100 yards out there, it's like 1,000 yards, because you don't even know, and then you won't know. Thanks, Jennifer. I appreciate you gonna contact Lane for us. Any other
Is there
questions?
anything else we could do to make sure that gets done, or?
That's a tough one because it's not, we're not either one of the companies involved.
Right.
here.
Right.
That's what I
Well, I
see
think
the
there's
problem.
a way, man to man, excuse that term, old fashioned term, to get it done, just, hey, what's it gonna take to do what we need done?
Just a sign would be amazing.
I think that if Jennifer reaches out to them, she can let us know if we need to provide them with anything, but it's really a Link Lane and a Link Lane and train station and a Link Lane and Greyhound situation. So
I
I don't
agree
know that there's a lot
100%,
we
Tara.
can do, but if Jennifer finds that there is something we can do, I'm sure she'll let us know.
Yeah, that is an excellent point on both behalves.
And maybe it's only, somebody makes a sign and carries it over and puts it out.
Yeah.
And then we don't have to ask 17 people.
Good dialogue. Nice job. I appreciate it. Any more questions or comments in regards to the minutes, the financials, and the ridership? Because we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor of the consent agenda as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? It passes. Old business. This is kind of exciting. Old business is people running for election. And I heard a rumor that this young man to my right, Harper, what have you done so far?
Like this morning?
Yeah,
Mhm.
tell the world.
Well, this morning I was the very first person at the Coos County Clerk's office, and I filed for election this morning for position 1.
Yes. He's a person. He's gonna be on the ballot. Yes. So if you know of any other persons that might be interested, there's a couple openings in both the elected position and the advisory board. And also our other board that we need to have, budget committee. We would love people to fill out their interest in the paperwork.
I'll just add that we have Phil Taylor filed for candidacy position 2 and Shira Nelson filed for position 3.
Excellent. Go ahead, Lauren. I saw
I
that
would-
arm go up.
Thank you. I had considered also running for the board, but I don't think I'm going to be back in Coos Bay by the 20th. Can it be done online? Does anybody know?
I called last week, and there's technically a way you can submit it online, but your payment has to be in cash in person. So
Oh, okay.
the answer I was told was no.
No, I don't know by in person. I mailed my payment in,
Oh,
but it would have to get there in time, your payment.
Right.
Yeah, or you get so many signatures, what is it, 10
you also have to
signatures?
you have to go in and have.
That
them verify
part,
the
yeah, and I'm not
signatures.
familiar with.
Lauren, I would be happy to drop your payment off for you if you don't think you can get it mailed there by the 20th.
Okay. I have 10 days. I think I should be able to, but thank you for the backup, Tara. I appreciate that.
And you would be running for position 2, is that correct?
I am whatever's available. I don't
think
want
you're
to.
all filed for, but I would hope that you would consider running for position 2.
Okay. I'll
run-
keep that in
If
mind.
you pay attention to which one you select, then you will see who you're running against versus who you're running with.
Okay.
People you're hoping are going to get back on the board, probably.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to run against Harper or Shira. So yeah, whatever's open there. And then I can't remember, Melissa, if I'm still on the budget committee, because it just says what the openings are, not who's on there.
I will look that up.
Okay, thank you.
We appreciate everyone's interest on committees. Excellent job. Do we have any other comments in regards to the election? Melissa, do you have anything else to share?
Not about the election, no.
Okay. Let's move on to the budget committee recruitment, which we were just talking about. So we've got several vacancies, you'll notice, exactly 4. And so if you know of a person that might be interested and willing, the deadline you see is March 3rd.
Well, and that's been extended to April 3rd, and I forgot, I missed it on the agenda to
Hey, that's
update.
okay.
But David do another push on social media for me. And currently, Lauren, you are on position 1 through December of 2026. And Mike Marchant is in position 6 through December 31, 2025. All the other, so we have 5 vacancies on the budget committee.
Okay, we'd love to see people interested in helping out.
That's a great way for, I think, board members to reach out to people they know.
It's also a great way to start your career on the transit board is with the budget committee. And then if you feel like you can continue to do, then you can get on the advisory board or the regular board. I know people have done that in the past.
I was just gonna ask Harper if he had any young friends that might be interested, seeing that our average age is not 20.
Not that we would ever consider whether or not we put people on the board by their age, right?
Not at all.
Yes.
Never.
I have some people that I wanted to reach out to. Now that I know that the deadline's in April, I'll definitely be reaching out to some younger folk to potentially serve.
Just a question, maybe somebody can answer me. I've got a granddaughter that I would like to get interested. Is she legal because of a relationship to me?
Wouldn't you just be able to not vote on it?
Sorry.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you just be able to
I
not
wouldn't
vote on it?
anticipate there would be any conflict of interest.
No, and then if we voted on it, you could abstain. That's all you have to do.
You're gonna go.
Well, I know, but I mean on a member.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, that's good. We just would want an opportunity to have a full board. That'd be wonderful. Any more questions on budget committee recruitment? Go ahead, Lauren.
I just had a thought, because I've been in Lindsay's position, and Lindsay is relatively new to this type of work, that this would be a great opportunity for people who are working with grants and budgets, maybe in other organizations, to get some experience, because this is an awesome organization and we do amazing work. Our budgets and our ordinances and policies are always just top notch. So that would be my suggestion, is to kind of look for those people that maybe are working in smaller organizations with this type of work, and selling it that way, I guess, that they could get an education.
And it's not a lot of time commitment either. So that's a positive thing. It's not like we meet every week for 52 straight weeks. Yeah, so it's a small commitment, but it still is a commitment. Thank you. Let's move on. Accounting Human Resource Services contract. Do you want to give us the background on that, Melissa?
That will be Jane.
Hey, Jane, you're up.
Hey, good morning. So you may recall that we started the process of looking for or renewing or not renewing, but I think that the last contract on it ran out, and we went out for bids on accounting and HR services. We got 2 responsive bids back. I would like to request that the board give me a committee to have come over to my office, or we can meet on Zoom and go over these and make sure that, come back with a recommendation for the board for which one that, or both, that we want to talk to and interview and move forward with that.
I'd definitely be interested in that, Jane.
Okay, that's one. I need at least one more, maybe even 2.
I'll go ahead.
Who was that? Sorry.
Shira.
Awesome. Thank you, Shara.
Preferably meetings that aren't in the evening or stuff like that during the day
Same to
at
you.
some point.
I love working during the workday.
Isn't that great?
That's what I'm for that too. Cause my workday is packed.
All right.
Excellent.
Great. And then I think just to make me feel better, can the board, do we need to do that for a committee? No, I don't think so. Never mind. I think we're good. I have my committee.
Yeah, we don't need a recommendation on that. Okay, any more questions on the accounting human services contract before we move on to new business?
When will that come back to the board? Do you know, is there a timeline on that?
Next meeting.
Okay.
Hopefully next month, because
Thank you.
we're supposed to make another decision
Awesome, thank you.
that I have in front of me, but it's behind my meeting screen.
Okay. Ordinance 2-2025, hey, that's a coincidence, governing conduct transit exclusion. Melissa, do you wanna give us the skinny?
Yes, thank you. So in your packet is the draft ordinance governing conduct and transit service exclusion. The code of conduct itself is pretty consistent with prior years. What this ordinance does is adds the exclusion element and a procedure. Then should the individual disagree with their exclusion, for them to petition for reconsideration. This is being presented for the first reading and with action to take place in April.
Can I get a motion on the floor before we can talk about it?
I move to approve first reading to be read only by, what is it, by title only?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second that we first reading to read only by title. So, so in the past, they haven't had an opportunity to say, I feel like I was whatever because of whatever. Now they have an opportunity to appeal.
It wasn't documented.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. So they're given an opportunity to express their case. They're given full opportunities. Any other questions by anybody?
I always do.
So, hey, Lauren, it's all good.
Well, first of all, I think that was an advisory board issue also, right, Melissa? To advise the board to accept the first reading?
So the first order of business was for the board to decide if they wanted to have the entire document read into the record or to read just the title.
Okay.
And so, okay, go ahead, Lauren.
No, you finish what you're going to say, sorry.
Okay. So if the board wants to then proceed with that action to vote on reading it in title only, they can do so and then actually read the title.
And it would be
Okay.
either me or Doug that actually read the title. So
Okay.
Who was it?
Any other questions before we vote whether we're gonna read the by title only? Okay. All those in favor of the ordinance to the first reading to read by title only, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Abstain. So the ordinance 2-2025 governing conduct transit exclusion has been read by title only. And that's the title, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
you want An ordinance, usually it'll say an ordinance.
Ordinance 2-2025 governing conduct on district property transit exclusion. There's the technical title.
That is the title.
Okay, so we have read it, our first reading. We will bring it back at our next meeting and have either a second reading or another opportunity to do it. Yeah,
You gotta
So-
vote on-
Still need to.
So Doug, at this point, you'll want to kick it to the advisory committee.
but they don't have
They can still.
They don't, but they can comment, right?
okay.
So if there's any comments on the ordinance, then they can make it. And then it will come back and the board is going to just have a motion as to whether or not they're approving the first reading.
Okay, so we're gonna have the advisory committee give us some opportunities to talk about this before we move to approve the first reading. Lauren and company, do you guys have any comments?
So my comment would have been excellent job. I really, really liked the part where certain people would be referred to waterfall towers. Is that what it's called? No, that's a place here in Santa Rosa. The waterfall clinic, if necessary. And I'd like us to maybe consider other situations where we could refer people, help people, if they're in a position where we would exclude them from writing, but we could give them another opportunity or help them find another way. And I can't give you a example because I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but let's say here's an example. People aren't allowed to bring on their cans and bottles for recycling, which I totally understand, but that is one of their main ways of earning a little extra income, or maybe it's their only way of earning income. How can we help them get those cans and bottles to the recycling spot? And maybe we can't, but that was just one example.
Thanks, Lauren. Good point. Any other individuals commenting? Okay, could I get a motion on the floor to move to approve the first reading of the ordinance governing conduct and transit exclusion?
This is Tara. I so move.
Second.
And it's been moved in second. Thank you. Any other comments in regards to this comment? All those in favor to move to approve the first reading of the ordinance governing conduct transit exclusion, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Abstain. Thank you. We'll continue with that next meeting. Melissa, you want to talk about the Title VI plan?
Thank you. Included in your packet is the Title VI plan and Resolution 2025-2. This is a refresh, and we removed some of the extra words so that we could get to the point, and as well as we made some small tweaks in verbiage so that it is more consistent with the federal circular 4702.1b. So again, moving the document to be more compliant. And so it has gone to the Civil Rights Office at ODOT for review, and it is ready for your adoption.
Excellent. Can I get a motion on the floor before we talk about it?
I'll move to adopt resolution 2025-2 approving the Title VI program plan, which includes a limited English proficiency plan.
And non-discrimination? Oh, this is my favorite.
Is there AC comment on this?
Yes.
can we get a second?
You can ask.
There we go. Move Carter. Move, okay. Comment in regards to this.
Do you wanna ask if the advisory committee had any comments?
Do you have any comments from the advisory committee? Lauren,
Oh, you're muted.
you're muted.
It's okay.
Sorry, thank you. This may be a question for Jane or Jennifer. In the past, these kinds of policies included gender and religion. A lot of times now we're using they and their along with he and she. And I was just wondering why those groups were left off.
Well, I can answer. For Title VI, there are 3 classes, race. There are 3 classes that are on there. What are they? Race. Sorry, it's Monday morning and I lost an hour of sleep. So can't think what the 3. There's 3. They're on there. You can only have those because that's what the actual law says. You can only have those 3. You cannot discriminate. You know, you don't want to discriminate against others, but for the Title VI plan itself, it can only list those 3 because that's what the law says. And the others you can add into other policies and procedures, but you can't have it listed because RLS will mark you down on your Title VI plan if you have multiple, because that's been one of the main things that has happened because the Title VI is very defined. So that's why there's only those 3 listed.
So I think that's interesting. I didn't realize that, but I bet you that is because the Title VI is based on federal law, and Oregon law has more protected statuses. But if we're just talking about something that's related to funding from the Fed, we probably want to be right in line with exactly what they say.
Thank you. I
I
wasn't aware.
agree 100%. That's a good question, Lauren. Nice job. Good help, Jane. Any other questions or comments?
I think more and more there'll be, because of changes in what's going on in the feds, there'll be more and more places where we'll differ in our thoughts than what the orders are.
That's probably true. Okay, so we have a resolution to adopt the Title VI program in non-discrimination policy and limited English proficiency. All those in favor say aye.
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 Strongly, yeah.
Oppose? Abstain? Thank you. Okay. Maintenance RFQ. What do you got, Melissa?
Thank you. The RFP was authored and published on February 18th, 2025 and closed on March 7th, 2025 at 5 p.m. We received 1 response to our maintenance RFQ, and that is Far West. And so they will be our approved vendor for maintenance.
So does that mean Bulldog Automotive didn't apply this time?
They did not, and I sent an RFP directly to them.
Okay. Give everyone an opportunity. We've got till, what's the date today? 10th?
Yeah.
So March 7th has come and gone. So there we go. We have a new maintenance group. See? Well, we had Bulldog Automotive. Now we've got. We've been using Far West.
We have been using Far West.
Yeah. So Far West. Okay. Any other comments regarding the maintenance RFQ? Okay, moving on. We'll go to the general manager's report.
Thank you. Just as a reminder to the board members to complete their required training on public meeting law. Second, SDO board assessment. I know that SDAO has been has sent a link to several of you to conduct the board assessment, but not everyone has responded. And so we're just kind of waiting. Is it still the interest of the board to complete this assessment?
I would think so. I bet I haven't responded because it was probably an email. I never even saw it. That's me.
And I haven't seen.
I'm
it.
guilty of not having responded.
Tara, how terrible.
All right, y'all, I will let the SDAO individual, professional, know that it is the board's intent to complete that assessment, and I will ask her to resend the link.
We'll just put a little more emphasis that it, because see, when you get a bunch of emails and you don't read them, neglect, I would do it if I saw it. So if we know a time frame when it's coming, I can be mentally prepared.
Okay.
Right, Harper?
I need all caps in that subject.
Yeah.
All caps.
All right, all caps in this subject is the request.
And maybe a recommended completion date.
All right, and a deadline. All right.
Board assessment might be a pretty important term in there too.
Wait a minute. It's-
We got you
it's
covered.
Self-assessment kind of thing.
But
Not
thank you,
under-
Melissa,
of
for
value
herding
of
us squirrels
self-assessments.
or
Yeah.
cats.
Thank you for working with the blind sheep. Yeah, appreciate it. Go ahead.
Okay, couple of follow-ups. One is, I just wanted to assure the board that there are seatbelt extenders in each of the buses.
Nice.
Secondly, with respect to Fair Media, we now have 2 customers who are using that prepay paratransit.
Excellent.
And we have 7 customers using that, that fixed route pass accommodation. And in the last 31 days, we had 31 unique customers using the token transit phone app for payment.
Excellent.
So just an update on that. Let's talk about hydrogen. And I am going to attempt to share my screen. All right, let me move this. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so Selena and I went to Berkeley for a public transit hydrogen workshop. This is one of the slides that I thought was really interesting. Basically, in the industry, there are 2 ways that hydrogen can be transported and then utilized by public transit. On the right-hand side, you'll see at the upper right-hand corner, it says a gaseous tube trailer truck. And so that gas is then transported by truck, goes to a compressor, which is then goes into a compressed hydrogen storage tank and then dispensed. And this is kind of the older mechanism for transporting and using hydrogen in gas form. The new up and coming mechanism is liquid hydrogen. It can come via truck in a liquid trailer, then to a liquid hydrogen storage tank, into a pump, into storage tanks, which look like tubes, and then goes into the dispenser. Let me show you a few pictures. So this is the liquid hydrogen storage. You can see it is very secure. And here's the inside You can see the liquid hydrogen storage there on the right, and then it's going to the compressor where then it goes into the tubes. You can see in the background, just really teeny there, right in the center.
It stays in liquid form.
Yes. Well, it eventually, I think once it gets into the tubes, I think it's compressed gas. But it arrives and is stored in liquid form. It's called cryogenics storage. And this is the bus. And notice all the scaffolding. So all the maintenance associated with the fuel cells are at the top of that bus. So you would have then your maintenance crew basically requiring scaffolding to maintain all that up in the roof. Which, you know, you learn what you don't know at these things, right? That's one of the purposes of going to these types of events.
Did you happen to find out if there's a reason that it's on top instead of what more intuitively on bottom?
I did not.
And how heavy is that? Is it change the weight? I imagine distribution of the bus.
Well, batteries, I'm sure are very. Let's see. Here's the top of the bus. So this is you're on the scaffolding, right? And you can see the scaffolding in the back, and there's then one where I'm standing, taking a picture down on top of the bus, and then you can see the batteries and the fuel cells all having access right here. But it was quite fascinating. You can see here's another picture. It's a picture of a picture. Then all the protective equipment that they need to utilize, right? Again, you're working with electricity, not the traditional, fossil fuels. And so the workforce associated with maintaining the hydrogen fleet is going to have many more competencies, different competencies than a traditional mechanic. And
than typical liquid hydrogen?
Well, hydrogen, whether it's liquid or gas, it is combined with an electric fuel cell.
Okay. And it's my understanding that liquid hydrogen is extremely cold.
Yes. Yeah. You could see in the story where it's has all the little icicles on it. We're in Berkeley, right? This is what the fuel pump looked like. Here, this is interesting. So you can see this is their maintenance bay. So you can see the scaffolding going up, so you can get access to the roof of their bus. And then you can the big thing here was the air exchange. They have to have air exchange. It changes out, I want to say 6 times an hour. So it's the air's moving in there. And they talked about all of the requirements for, in the event there was an explosion or in the event that there was a fire, all the safety requirements in the design of a maintenance bay.
I think it's on the top of the bus for safety. Because if it was in the front of the bus, if they got into an accident, it'd be a lot worse. Or it's at the top, and that's obviously the bus roll or do a few other things that you don't want to happen.
This is another example of a storage and a fueling station in a bus yard. And
So outside, yeah.
this is an example of a portable unit. for a fueling station.
And where do they have those now?
California. They're really leading hydrogen and public transit. They gave some examples in Berkeley. They are also the leader in training the workforce. And so this was their example of their workforce training, 8 hours orientation, high voltage and personal protective equipment, 40 hours in energy storage, 40 hours in powertrain technology, 30 hours in fuel cell, and 80 hours in technical training.
That's good.
That's a lot, yeah,
Um,
5 weeks, easy training.
This is another example of, on the right is a liquid hydrogen station, fueling station. And then on the left, this Sunline Transit also built a hydrogen electrolyzer station. So they're generating their own hydrogen, which was very fascinating. Some of the things they considered whether or not they wanted to build their own electrolyzer was that they wanted to ensure the availability and control to some degree the availability of the fuel supply themselves, right? Because, you know, even look at where we live. I mean, there's so many bridges between us and the outer, yeah, and everything and anywhere. It would be nice if in Coos County we had our own hydrogen electrolyzer. This electrolyzer takes up a half an acre, and they also said the electrolyzer station in 2017 was $9 million to build.
Good luck.
But it was really interesting. This is I saw some examples, yes. And then we saw lots of slides too. So it was very nice. Here's another example of liquid hydrogen. So there's a liquid hydrogen tank, and then we have the cryogenic pumps going into the vaporizer towers, and then stored in gaseous form in the storage bottles, which are then dispensed into the rigs.
Melissa, do you know of any in Oregon right now?
I know that Portland is hydrogen ready, but I don't believe they have any hydrogen vehicles. But of course, they're just across the way from the big hydrogen project.
Right.
So,
Jennifer, do you know of any in Oregon, if you're out there?
Yeah, the only folks that I know that are even looking into it are up in the northern territories. At one point in time, I think that Sunset Empire up in Astoria was looking at it. And then at one time, I think Hood River also, but I don't believe that I know of any currently for transit.
Thank you, appreciate it.
H-Cycle was a company that presented, and their focus was really using biomass. So biomass including waste of feedstock, organic waste, ag waste, forestry waste, and using that waste then to create the hydrogen. That was super fascinating. And H-Cycle again was saying that from a money perspective and the production of cost, biomass is one of the leading less expensive mechanism to generate the hydrogen. Which we all know that, you know, we have lots of waste here in Coos County with between the fisheries, timber, yada, yada, yada. So, I mean, there's be some potential opportunities there.
In the hills, between San Jose and Concord, they had, biomass, hills made out of garbage. They were pulling power of some kind. I'm very sure it was not hydrogen, at least at the time.
How long were you guys there for?
Just we spent one night. We flew down. We had the tours on the first day. And then the second day was a workshop. And then we flew back.
Was it fun? Like you guys, okay.
Yeah, it was good.
Heavily guarded, I assume?
Heavily guarded.
Facilities?
No, no.
Yeah, the big fences.
I mean, there were fences, yeah, and they were locked, it's secured, but, but it didn't stand out as.
Sometimes I've gone down to Stanford. I've stayed overnight at the Stanford guest house, and it's on the grounds of this linear accelerator, and you would think I was a terrorist. Get into a, basically a hotel room. It was interesting.
That is very interesting.
I think AC Transit really summed it up, as far as lessons learned. Number one is get to know what you don't know. And Selena and I really, came away from those 2 days of really realizing, having that aha moment of all the things that you don't know. They're talked about, make sure you dig into your facility requirements, plan to scale for growth or do it all at once, invest in workforce training. Don't forget your emergency response partners in all of this, and your technology partners. And, there's a lot of homework to be done. And then with respect to your fleet planning, make sure when it says a TAM plan, that's a transit asset management plan. So your fleet replacement plan, make sure you prioritize your ZEB is zero emission buses, prioritize your ZEB deployments, etc. in alignment with, it's just all these moving parts, right? And it's emerging. So the environment continues to change as you delve into it. So
as part of the world was moving into electric for automobiles, the biggest car company in the world, Toyota, was putting most of their energy into hydrogen, and it put them a decade behind others, and they're only now catching up, starting to catch up with the electric, because they put essentially all their eggs in the basket of hydrogen, and it's a big world with and they probably aren't wrong in the long term.
So for us, coming back to our transit center and mobility hub, I've been meeting with Anastasia and Tim at ProClay, who is our architect firm that we're working with on the initial defining requirements and those things. So we are in the process of doing that, defining the requirements. What do we need for infrastructure? What do we need for tech? What are our operational requirements? And what are those future growth requirements? And so those conversations are happening now. And we're continuing to work on that. Pretty exciting stuff, actually.
Anastasia is exciting stuff.
Yes.
And she's a great addition to the area.
That the transit center project, one of these days it'll finish. I'm excited. We've been here. Mr. Clausen and I have been around talking about that for so long.
Yeah.
We can't remember when we started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Any more on the transit project?
Nope.
Okay, ODOT, programming, monitoring.
Oh, yeah.
Mark's
Just just so y'all know, we'll have monitors here next week. And they'll be reviewing all of our systems. So Jennifer will be here in person.
Excellent. Jennifer's gonna make a Coos Bay appearance.
We won't call it a rare,
No,
but
Hey,
it's like close.
go ahead, Jennifer.
I love Coos Bay.
Yeah.
We like you coming because you've got knowledge that you share, and it's wonderful.
And
Yes,
sure,
all
nice
of
way.
us as well.
Pick a sunny time.
Anytime. Zoom's wonderful, but in person is better. Is that any more for general manager's report?
That's it.
Excellent. Number 10, citizens' comments on non-agenda items limited to 3 minutes. Public is a one-way communication where the public shares input on the record without expecting a dialogue or direct response. Do we have any citizens' comments? Non-agenda.
Have the item that I posted in your chat about the Title VI and what the actual wording is, so it's much more clear than what I was trying to get across.
Excellent. We appreciate that, Jennifer. Our next meeting is April 14th. But before we move on, I took a granddaughter and my wife and myself to a movie called Rule Breakers. It's about the Afghan robotic team. And it is an amazing movie, what they had to go through to be a robotic team in Afghanistan during war. So if you have a young lady or a person that might be interested in a real challenge that they're dealing with, it's in the last 10 years. It was an incredible movie. And I cried twice. And I never want to cry, but I did twice. It was very an emotional movie. So if you have a daughter, granddaughter, or someone close to you, I would recommend that movie highly. We were the only 3 people in the theater. So we could sit anywhere. So that's all. Thank you all for coming and volunteering. Have a great day.